Welcome to the English Talk Show, the podcast where you learn English through beautiful stories. I'm Rex.
And I'm Melissa. We are so happy you are here with us today. Wherever you are listening, welcome.
Today's episode is very special. It is a love story, a story about two strangers who meet on a rainy day, and how one small act of kindness changes everything.
Oh, I love this story so much, Rex. It is called A Rainy Day Help, and I promise you, by the end of it, your heart will feel very full.
This story is romantic, it is emotional, and it is perfect for learning English because the words are simple, but the feelings are very big. You will hear two voices telling the story: Daniel, a kind and gentle man, and Sophie, a warm and thoughtful woman.
They don't know each other at the beginning. They are complete strangers. But one rainy Tuesday afternoon on a quiet street in the city, something begins. So find a comfortable place, take a breath, and let the story carry you.
Let's begin the story.
It was a Tuesday afternoon in October. The rain came suddenly, like a surprise no one had asked for. One moment the street was dry. The next it was alive with the sound of water hitting pavement. My name is Daniel. I worked at the city library just 2 blocks from Maple Street. On that Tuesday I was walking home the long way, past the old bookshop, past the flower stall, pulling roses under a canopy. I had my umbrella, I had my coat, I was perfectly fine, or so I thought.
My name is Sophie. I was a primary school teacher. On that same afternoon, I was at the bus stop on Maple Street, watching my bus pull away from the curb. I had been 30 seconds late. I had even waved at it, which did absolutely nothing. Now I was standing under the small metal roof as the rain fell harder. The wind was pushing it sideways, and my shoes were already getting wet. I did not have an umbrella. I remember thinking, Sophie, you should have known better.
Quick word. Sophie said the rain was coming sideways, meaning the wind was pushing it at an angle, not straight down from the sky. Sideways. Simple and very useful. Okay, back to the story.
I came round the corner onto Maple Street and I saw her. She was at the bus stop trying to make herself small. The little roof above her was barely helping. She had no umbrella. I almost walked past her, but something made me stop. A kind of patient frustration on her face, like someone cold and wet but refusing to feel sorry for herself. I walked up slowly. I held my umbrella out so it covered both of us, and I said, "Excuse me."
I looked up. There was a man beside me, tall with dark hair damp at the edges. He was holding his umbrella, very deliberately, over both of us. He had kind eyes, and he was smiling warmly, the way someone smiles when they genuinely want to help. He said, "You look like you could use some cover. I'm heading toward the park. You're very welcome to share." I said, "Thank you. That's very kind of you." He nodded, and we started walking.
We walked in silence for a little while, just the two of us under one umbrella listening to the rain. A little awkward, but not unpleasant. After a minute I said, "My name is Daniel, by the way." She said, "I'm Sophie. Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you, Sophie, even in this weather." She laughed, real and genuine. I felt something relax inside me.
We started talking about the weather, the neighborhood. He asked if I worked nearby. I told him I taught at a primary school on the next street. He said, "I work at the library, just 2 blocks from here." I said, "I love the library. I go there on Saturday mornings." He said, "Really? I've never seen you there." And I said, before I could stop myself, "Maybe you weren't looking." He stopped walking for just a half second. Then he smiled, a little surprised, a little pleased. I felt my face get warm.
Maybe you weren't looking confident, playful, just real. I thought, this woman is interesting. Then the rain became much stronger. Heavy and loud, my umbrella was losing the fight. We both looked up, then at each other, and then, at exactly the same moment, we both looked at the coffee shop on the corner. Warm golden windows, a sign that said, Marina's, a faint smell of cinnamon through the door. I said, "Would you like to go in just until it slows down?" She said, "I would love that."
Quick pause. Daniel described the coffee shop as warm and golden. That is what we call inviting, something that looks so welcoming it makes you want to go inside. Inviting. Remember that word. Now let's go inside with Daniel and Sophie.
Inside, it was warm, quiet, smelling of cinnamon and coffee. Soft piano music played near the counter. We found a table by the window. A waiter brought 2 menus, and then, at exactly the same moment, we both said, "I'll have a cappuccino." We looked at each other and burst out laughing. Daniel said, "Really? Cappuccino?" I laughed again. The strangeness of the afternoon suddenly felt less like an accident and more like something that was supposed to happen.
Our cappuccinos came. We wrapped our hands around the warm cups and watched the rain. I asked Sophie, "What do you love about teaching?" She said, "The honesty. Children are completely honest. If they are bored, they tell you, usually by drawing pictures instead of listening." She smiled. But when you watch a child understand a new word or read a sentence by themselves for the first time, nothing feels better. She lit up when she said it. I thought I could listen to this woman for a very long time.
Then I asked him about the library. He loved the quiet of it, a whole room of people lost in their own worlds. I said, "What do you read?" He said, "Almost everything on the 2nd floor." He said it so seriously that I laughed. I said, "What's your favorite book up there?" He said, "There's a book about a man who walks across an entire country alone just to understand himself. I've read it 3 times. It always makes me feel brave." I thought, I want to know more about this man.
We talked for a long time. The rain grew lighter, then it stopped. Neither of us mentioned it. We could leave. But we kept talking, kept listening. Eventually the waiter brought the bill. We both reached for it at the same time, our hands suddenly very close. She said, "Please let me. You shared your umbrella. It's the least I can do." I said, "Please let me." We argued politely for 30 seconds and then I paid. I didn't know if there would be a next time, but I hoped.
One quick word, neither. Neither. It means not one and not the other. Neither of them mentioned the rain had stopped. It's a very useful English word. Okay, back to the story.
He held the door open. Outside, the air was clean and cool after the rain. The streetlights were beginning to glow. He said, "I'm glad I walked this way today." I smiled. "The kind that comes before you can decide whether to let it." I said, "I'm glad too." He took out his phone. I could see he was nervous. He said, "Sophie, would it be okay if I had your number? I'd really like to see you again." His face was open and hopeful, and I said, "Yes, of course."
She said, "Yes, of course." I typed in her number, and when I looked up, she was still smiling. We said goodbye at the corner of Maple Street. She walked one way, I walked the other. I walked the whole way home smiling. I didn't even notice the cold.
1 week later, I was back at the same bus stop on Maple Street. It was not raining. The sky was pale blue. The leaves were starting to turn. Little touches of gold and orange. I was thinking about him. I had almost called 3 times, then stopped myself. "Too soon, Sophie." And then I heard footsteps. There he was, coming around the corner. He saw me and his face opened, the way a window opens when someone pulls back the curtain. He said, "Fancy meeting you here." I laughed. I could not help it.
I had not planned to walk past Maple Street that morning, and yet there I was. When I saw her, same bag, different coat, a deep red that suited her, I felt something settle inside me. I said, Have you been waiting long?" She smiled. "Only a minute, but I'm happy to wait a little longer now." We started talking again easily, like we had never stopped. That was the morning I knew. This woman was going to be very important to me.
After that, we saw each other often. Tuesday walks became Saturday mornings at the library, with books open between us and cups of tea going cold because we forgot to drink them. Saturday mornings became Sunday lunches. Sunday lunches became long phone calls, the kind that start at 8 and end at midnight. He brought me books he thought I would love. He was right every single time. I brought him drawings from my students, colourful pictures in crayon. He put them on the wall at work, and he never took them down.
Every time I looked at those drawings, I smiled. A cat that looked like a cloud, a house with a sun bigger than the house itself. They made the wall look like a garden. We were falling. Slowly, gently, like leaves in autumn that trust the air to hold them. We were falling into something warm and real. Months passed, and with every month, the world seemed a little brighter.
Oh, one moment. Daniel said they were falling like leaves in autumn. That is a metaphor describing feelings using a picture from nature. Slowly, gently, without fear. What a beautiful way to describe falling in love. We are almost at the end. Don't go anywhere.
One evening in January, 3 months after that rainy Tuesday, I asked Sophie to meet me at the park. I'd been thinking about what to say for a week. I'd practiced quietly while shelving books. She was there in a red coat, her breath making small clouds in the cold air. The trees were bare and silver, everything very still. We walked for a little while, and then I stopped. I said her name very quietly. Sophie. She turned and looked at me.
He said my name, just Sophie, but in a way that made everything go quiet. His face was serious, but his eyes were soft. He said, "I don't have a big speech. I'm just going to say what I feel." He took a slow breath. He said, "That day in the rain was the best day of my life. Not because of the umbrella, not because of the cappuccinos, because of you, Sophie. And I want all of the days. With you." My eyes filled with tears. The best kind.
Her eyes filled with tears, then she smiled. That same smile from the bus stop. She said yes, 100 times yes. And then she laughed and cried at the same time at the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I opened my arms, she stepped into them, and we stood there in the cold January park under the bare silver trees, and the whole world went quiet. This is what happy feels like, just this person, in your arms, saying yes.
People ask us sometimes, "How did you meet?" And we always smile before we answer. A small private look passes between us that says, "Oh, this story, our favorite story." We say, "It was raining, he had an umbrella, and the rest is ours." I always say, "I'm so glad I missed that bus."
And I always say I'm so glad it rained that day. Because if it hadn't rained, I would have walked past her, and the whole rest of my life would have been different. One rainy afternoon, one umbrella, one choice to stop. That's all it took.
And that is a rainy day help.
Oh my goodness. Every single time I hear that story, I feel it right here. Rex, that ending, the park, the winter trees, 100 times yes, I can't.
It really is something. Daniel was nervous. He almost walked past Sophie. He almost kept going. And he stopped. That one tiny decision, choosing to stop, choosing to help, changed everything. Changed both of their lives completely.
Yes, and the lesson here is not just about love. It is about courage. It takes courage to speak to a stranger, to say, "Would you like to share my umbrella?" These things feel small, but they are not small. They are brave.
And neither Daniel nor Sophie was looking for love that afternoon. They weren't trying. They were just open. Open to the moment, open to another person.
That's so true. The most beautiful moments often begin with the smallest things: a missed bus, a sudden rain, one kind person with an umbrella. You don't have to go looking for big moments. Sometimes they come to you.
And for our listeners learning English, you practiced wonderful things today. Natural conversation, simple words with deep feelings, phrases like the least I can do and fancy meeting you here. These are real phrases real people use, and now they are part of your English too.
We are so proud of you for listening all the way to the end. If you understood even half of the story, that is wonderful. And if you want to listen again, please do. Every time you listen, you will understand a little more.
So the next time something small goes wrong, a missed bus, a sudden rain, take a breath. Ask yourself, could this be the beginning of something wonderful? Because sometimes it is.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. We will be back soon with another story, another adventure in English. Until then, keep listening, keep learning, and keep your heart open. This is Melissa.
And this is Rex. Take care of yourselves, everyone. And if it rains today, maybe don't run inside too quickly.